Hey guys, and welcome back to another video by myself, Will from 4 Point Solutions. Again, my voice isn't the best right now, but I managed to create this third episode. So super excited for you guys to obviously dive into the legal and regulatory processes of actually setting up a Cayman hedge fund, including how to register with the Cayman Islands, okay guys? And that is obviously to make this a licensed fund. So let's go walk through this process step by step, and let's actually get into this video. Okay, so before we come actually into the preset of considerations, let's actually go back into the basics and have a little bit of a chat about the actual Cayman fund licensing as such. So when people say that they're registering a Cayman fund, what they actually mean that is they're getting recognised by SEMA under the actual Mutual Funds Act, right? Now, there's three main categories of a hedge fund over in Cayman. The first one, obviously, is registered fund. The second one is admin fund, and the third one is licensed fund. So starting with the first one being registered funds, which is the most common. You qualify if each investor puts at least 100K US dollars worth, $100,000, and you appoint a licensed fund admin. Administered funds is the second option of setting up one of these funds, right? And this is using the fund doesn't meet the minimum investment threshold, but is administered by a licensed Cayman admin who takes responsibility for regulatory compliance. And finally, it's very rare that is obviously licensed funds. These require a full regulatory review and are often reserved for niche or high-risk strategies. For 95% of managers, the registered fund route is the way to go. It's efficient, streamlined, and gives you your fund official recognition in Cayman Islands with SEMA, which is essential for onboarding serious capital and obviously banking relationships as well. So when we look at the preset of considerations now, we need to start to think about, okay, you're looking at setting up a fund, you need to look at determining your fund strategy and your investor target. Okay, very simple stuff. You need to choose your actual structure, where your investors are going to be based. Obviously, we can have a chat about that. We can go ahead and book a meeting. There's a link below. You can go ahead and book a meeting with me. We can have a chat of what probably suits you. Right now, I'm just introducing you to some of the material and the words and the keywords and the key systems and ecosystems that go on when setting up a hedge fund and how to actually do it. So you're not going in blind, right? Whichever service provider you use, me or someone else, another company, that's completely fine, up to me, but this is the information on a hedge fund, so you don't get sucked up by expensive professional fees. So incorporation and setup, okay, so you incorporate an exempt company or an SPC in Cayman. Typically prices are between about $2,000 and $6,000 US dollars for this. Again, you need 2 minimum directors for this company. So again, we can also provide a local Cayman director or a UK Luxembourg and a very tier 1 nominee director as well. Draft offering memorandum, which is a PPM, okay? This is a very important document. Again, there's usually a legal counsel that does this document. So essentially a lot of focus goes on the PPM. That usually happens with a legal counsel, as just mentioned, and then essentially we go ahead and create the articles of association and subscription docs. So there's a lot to go into the player, although it only seems like four bullet points. The pre-registration requirements are quite intense and obviously therefore come with those fees. We will be speaking about those fees towards the end of this video, so you will actually learn how expensive this actual setup is. Before you even submit the application to SEMA, you have to do all of this checklist. And this checklist is, you ready? The fund admin, they handle the NAV calculations, investor onboarding and reporting. The auditing team, which is approved by SEMA, think BDO, EY, RSM companies. Okay, they're great stuff, the big four, you know. Legal counsel, typically a Cayman law firm, to prepare the PPM documents and any of the documents required for SEMA. And then again, you've also got the registered office provider, which is us in this actual circumstances, as if you set up a company through us, then obviously that's our office over there, but you will be using our partner. Office over in the Cayman Islands, which is a great luxurious location anyways. So directors, again, there has to be 2 who register with SEMA under the Director Registration and Licensing Law. So this actually costs a little bit as well to register those directors. I actually did it again very recently on behalf of a client. I think it's about $1,400 a cost price per person just to register yourself. So there's obviously 2 directors. Now, additionally, you also will need your, the letters from the legal counsel, the fund admin of the future work that's going to be done to say, such as a commitment letter of the promised actual work, if that kind of makes sense. So this is where we then get on to the AMLCOs, the MLROs, the DMLROs, obviously register with SEMA to submit file and auditor confirmation, and obviously pay the registration fee via SEMA's online portal. Okay, so what happens here is essentially you gather all those documents that I've mentioned about. Again, you can just contact me and ask for a list of documents of requirements, but it really needs a call to speak about it. It's quite complex stuff, right? So when your documents are ready, here's how the SEMA process works in real terms. You upload the briefs to the SEMA online filing portal. Then you upload your PPM document, your consent letters from your admin and auditor, your certificate of incorporation, details of your directors, AML and compliance documents. And then you pay the actual registration fee, which is $4,270. Once submitted, SEMA typically registers a fund within 7 to 14 days. Obviously, this is not guaranteed or exact. That's what goes on, assuming everything is in order, that is, And that's it. Once registered, you're live and your fund is, you can start onboarding, right? So now it's really going in to service providers onboarding, and then we'll take a little look at the legal team, service providers, director duties, AML officers, and ongoing obligations of running the fund as well. So first of all, you need to sign the agreements with the admin and the custodian. Again, that's usually fund admin and the prime broker as well. Now engage with the auditor and the legal counsel and ensure FATCA and CRS classification and filings. Set up investor onboarding and KYC process. Okay, so you essentially need a little bit of a small core team to stay compliant. Yes, we do a lot of the work for you. We make sure that you're all actually compliant. But it's good to have a little team around, so we can have a really good group chat and a very efficient little work project group. That's how we typically work at Forward Point Solutions. I essentially join your team to help you manage your hedge fund. So a Cayman Islands law firm like Maples, or Conyers, for example, can help you do that, but they're going to do that at a significant cost. Okay, we work with a lot of legal works, trust specialists, ex-guys from PwC, lawyers in BVI, lawyers in Lithuania, lawyers in Qatar to actually get this done. And we have very respectable prices, as our clients have noticed, or our prospects, a lot of people I've had chats to about setting up a fund have noticed that our prices are very competitive. And that's obviously because I do have good relationships with these external auditors, legal counsels, and obviously fund administrators as well. I have those relationships. Obviously I refer them clients, and they love me and I love them because my clients are happy and I'm happy. Okay. So the next one is the bank and brokerage setup. Okay. We handle all of the fund bank account in local domestic Cayman and overseas EMIs. So EMIs are some great stuff. Again, if you do need a bank account for any offshore company or something like this, we can potentially look at introducing you as long as you are actually within that risk profile. Okay, so this is somewhere where you then need to go into selecting a brokerage, ensuring it actually supports the fund flows and the subscriptions that satisfy the PPM documents, and obviously the subscriptions and redemptions of those clients. We then also need to ensure the accounts are, working in order, test them, and implement internal AML and compliance procedures. Okay, So obviously you will also need 2 AML officers. That's an money laundering reporting officer, which is an MLRO. We need 2 of these. We provide that service for you. It costs about $8,000. We'll get into the prices shortly, literally very shortly in the next section here. So again, you'll also need a data protection officer. This is a DPO under the Cayman Data Protection Act, a money laundering reporting officer, and an AML compliance officer. So there's 3 appointments right there. And once the fund is live, again, we've got an annual audit, a fund annual return form, which is called a FAR. This is a FAR form. You might have heard of this before. And obviously keep the PPM updated, work with that legal counsel to make sure your fund is compliant, you are up to date, you've updated all of your fund administration documents, X, Y, Z. Okay, missing these can actually result in serious penalties and even suspension of your fund. So very important to make sure you nail it with compliance and stay up to date with everything. So this slideshow's ended. I wish I was on camera now, but I'm not. But I do want to just speak about costs, timelines, and realistic expectations. So if we just go into talking numbers right now, okay, initial setup costs between 40 grand and 75 grand, okay? Depending on the law firm we're going to be using with you, admin, and complexity of the structure. I don't know how, maybe you have no feeder funds, maybe you have feeder funds, maybe you just have 5 investors, very simple PPM for the legal counsel, right? Or maybe you've got 6,000 investors and you got 19 billion, a little bit of a different setup, right? You can understand that. Timeline from kickoff to SEMA actual approval, you're looking at 4 months. Yes, we can do it much faster, but we don't rush these projects. These are nice projects and usually my clients are not in a rush. Annual costs. A lot more minimal, obviously it's very complex, every case by case, but you're looking at 20 to 50,000 US dollars. So be cautious with cheaper quotes, and obviously more expensive quotes is way more typical as well. You can see the likes of 150,000, 400,000, you know, those other firms can charge huge prices, you know, but there's so much to go into it. It does make sense to charge a very high price. And again, the cost price is very high anyways. So that's a full breakdown of actually starting up, setting up a hedge fund, legally, regulatory perspective, right? The Cayman model is globally trusted, but it's only as strong as the structure, service providers, and compliance set up behind it. You have to understand that. So you have to be connected to the right people instead of using some random law firm in the Cayman Islands that's going to rip you off and not do the job properly, essentially. So, you know, I mean, most of our fund admin work is done over in Singapore. All of the legal work is done over in BVI, for example, and all of the Cayman work is done in-house in Cayman. Okay. So in the next episode, we're going to be diving into raising capital, how to pitch for your fund, onboarding your first investors, and build trust from day one. So, of course, if you are enjoying this series, guys, please like and subscribe. And if you're launching a fund yourself, reach out to me or my team, www.forwardpointsolutions.com. There's also a link down below where you can go ahead and book a meeting with me. And again, we're here to help you, here to guide you, and even, you know, don't mind sending an email or 2 on the house if you have any questions about any of this. Happy to help. So over and out, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Excuse the voice, it's a little bit tired, and I'll speak to you very soon.